Hello, 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 hello. Hello, wonderful people. How are all of you tonight? I'm gearing up my phone. So please give me un momento. I'm working on my Spanish as well. Yes, 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 yes. I'm back, and guess what? Almost on time. I asked for 10 minutes and I only took 14. So give me some give me some grace on that. I've been getting a lot of slack lately about my tardiness, and I promise I'm working on it. My intent is to not be disrespectful of folks' time, but I get it. Intent doesn't always equal impact, right? So I'm really trying to get better. Welcome, welcome, everyone. I have to grab my wine. And tonight you'll see I'm drinking out of a glass. So my guest was making fun of my solo cup. So I had to bring out a what's the crate and barrel on y'all? Ooh, bourgeoisie. Is it the Scandal? Back when Scandal was popping. Welcome everyone. I see y'all coming in. Come on in. Tonight I'm gonna keep my phone nearby so I can see like the names on Facebook this time. But as always, I want y'all to check in with me. So as you're coming in, say hey Eddie, say what's up, tell me how you're doing. Hi Melvin. Say what's going on. Tell me if you're sipping on anything. Just say anything, all right? That's right. Send me some love. Send me some love. I see the hearts as well. No, kinda. I really need it. All right. Mm. Bonjour, Alexis. Hola, Daniel. Of course, you all know I have my Cabernet Sauvignon for the night. What are y'all sipping? What's going on? Rashawn, it's so good to see you. Well, not see you on here. That's definitely what I meant. We're gonna take another sip because this episode, as I promised, is gonna go there. Okay? We're gonna Rod, my sister's here. Okay, so people have joined. As many of you know, I moved back home in December. And actually, even before that, I've had some challenges. For the past 2 weeks, I haven't brought you a show. And luckily, the first week, the guest had to cancel. And the integrity, the courage to come on here and give a show for no those for the good words. So when I started the Southern Gent last year, I was in a totally different headspace, and I was genuinely happy and ready to share like with the world. But as you know, shit happens, right? And there are a multitude of reasons and things that have happened. But what I've found myself in is a tizzy. I found myself questioning a lot, and yearning for clarity, understanding, peace, and love. However, the negative thoughts came in, and they really did not go away. So what I had to do was acknowledge my vulnerability and actually admit that I was in need. Now, if y'all know me, like a lot of y'all know me. Hey, cousins. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Oh, everything's going so fast. It never goes that fast. But if y'all know me, y'all know that it's rare that I ever ask for much, if anything. And I would reach out to friends, and many of them were there, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them had their own things going on. And the last thing that I wanted to do was to add to the batch, you know? So I stayed in my head a lot, like selfishly, right? But it's what I felt was the best thing for me at the time. And I found myself sad, um, angry, depressed, and kind of faking it till you make it, right? Like that was one of the things that was happening because it was like putting on a mask because I felt the need to always be on for other people, but who I needed to be there for was actually me. And more recently, I found myself in some like sticky situations, we'll say, and they have really, really challenged my strength. Unfortunately, I was already in a battle mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So I couldn't offer my full self when those situations presented themselves. But in one situation, I will say I kept my cool, I kept it together. So a bitch was proud of herself. In others, I was not showing up as my full self. And I allowed those situations to push me back into that old Eddie and those old behaviors. And I'm not too proud of that. But what I will say is thank you. Because your lack of compassion, respect, and empathy for those people, involved in that situation, this is to you. Your lack of empathy, like respect and compassion, really showed me how I needed to be a better me. It allowed me to confirm that I deserve more, especially from me. Regardless of how other people treat you, you need to treat yourself with respect, kindness, dignity, grace, and integrity. So I'm happy to say that things are brighter and I'm feeling much better. Now, my leg is another story. Speaking of, several of you have asked and like made jokes about my leg. I actually hurt myself strolling in Atlanta. And I know I'm a hoe, okay? And I wish that there was a crazy swinging from the ceiling fan story for me to tell y'all, but it actually was not. It was actually an accident that happened. So it took me some time to get my insurance stuff together and get to the doctor, but I've been doing my exercises and it ain't the bones. So hallelujah. But the tendons or whatever they are just ain't healing quick enough for me. So yeah, all of the things are better, and I have a therapy session scheduled next week. So cross your fingers that is a good fit. I am so excited about that. But woo! Thank you all for allowing me this space to be open and raw with you all because I started the Southern Gent to help us all get through. And I've had some amazing guests that have inspired me and many of y'all. So I'm eternally grateful for that journey. However, I wanted to announce that I will be taking the month of April off to work on some things personally, professionally, but more so personally and spiritually. So that's to better like equip myself to be able to pour into the universe. And I already anticipate the messages of worry and concern. I appreciate it, but just know I'm going to be all right. Okay. What you can do though is pray for me, chant, burn some sage, send me positive thoughts. Whatever good feels that you have, send it my way. Okay? Okay. I love y'all. So thank you for all the love. Yes, Morris, it is definitely something that we go through, and I think it's very similar. So I would love to have you on the show as well, Morris. So please come through. Thank you for all the love today. I do love you all. That's enough about me. I said I had a special guest, and I can't wait to speak with him tonight. My guest is someone that I have known for many, 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 many years, and I'm so honored to like be a witness of like his growth and his journey, and I couldn't be more proud of the man that I see today. My guest is none other than the awesome ass Romero Malone. What's up?
What's up, Eddie? How are you?
I am feeling quite fabulous tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Look, that introduction you just gave me, Revere, I'm gonna have to need you to every time I go somewhere and do something, you're gonna have to bring that introduction for me. Gosh, I appreciate that. I hope I can live up to the hype. My
Of
goodness.
course. You
Wow. So thank
definitely.
you. Yeah. Thank you
Of
so much.
course. And I am so, so happy that you hit me up because I was really about to skip on another week without notifying my people. It was nothing but divine intervention. So thank you again for joining me tonight for real. And that's like for real. Because you know I love you.
Oh, I love you too. It's definitely my pleasure, my honor, and my pleasure to have known you all these years, and also knowing the place that we are in right now, because you've seen a lot of my journey and a lot of my transition to who I am now. So it's definitely a great thing to for us to be in this place. And we have been talking about doing this podcast since last year,
We
and
have.
the whole week I was just like, I need to message Eddie because we have not, I haven't seen you come on and do your podcast in a second. And then I
Mhm.
remember me asking you about me coming on. So I'm just like, nope, it's been too long. Let me reach out to him. He been too quiet. Let me see what's going on. So I'm glad we were able to come now. We're here at this present time, this present moment. I'm so glad and so honored to be here with you on the Southern Gents today.
Yes, and as you and the viewers can see, tonight's episode is entitled Waiting to Exhale. With us being Whitney fans, I just had to throw in the nod to
Yeah.
our girl. Now, Whitney has
I
gotten me through some tough times and uplifted me when I was down, honey. Now, I want
mhm.
a question before I start like everything.
You want to what?
Ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, everybody knows by the title of the show what my favorite Whitney movie is, but I don't know if I've ever asked you. Do you have a favorite Whitney movie?
I mean, gosh, my favorite my favorite my favorite Whitney movie has to be The Preacher's Wife. I watch it every year around Christmas time. It's a tradition for me. And the way she just delivers in that whole movie and just her singing, her song, her voice, just I believe in you and me when she's inside of that bar, it's just everything. That's literally my favorite Whitney movie. I mean, of course you have the standard ones, which is the bodyguard, and then her last one, which was Sparkle and different things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But the Preacher's Wife, my whole childhood is attached to that. Like I had the cassette tape rewinding and playing it. I know I'm young to be having cassettes, but we had the cassette and we would wear it out to the little brown thing come out, and you got to rewrap it and pull it back in. That's how we had ours. So
Yes.
yeah, definitely,
So
definitely the Preacher's Wife.
before I even asked your introduction, I wanted to know that because Romero is like one of the biggest Whitney fans that I know. So would you please, beyond the
Don't play
Whitney,
with it. Don't play
for
with it.
a little about yourself?
Say that one more time, Eddie.
I think there's a delay or something.
There is.
Um,
There's a small delay.
can you tell me a little bit about yourself? So tell the viewers a little about yourself beyond the Whitney thing.
Okay. My name is Romero Malone. I am, of course, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, from Orange Mound, and then eventually transitioned to Westwood, but that's a story for a different day. Um, I've, I'm pretty much, I've done a lot of activism work. I started in high school doing activism and fighting for student rights and doing protesting and making sure that our school and in our school system there was equality and that we were having the same opportunities that predominantly um, other ethnicities were having outside
Mhm.
of our Black African American community because we weren't being afforded some of the same opportunities. So from that, from doing a lot of community activism work, then student rights activism work, I was doing my senior year conferences and seminars on being proactive in the community. So I didn't have like a normal senior year, and all of that kind of ushered me into now to being the president of our in-house labor union at my airline, which I oversee about 5,000 flight attendants. And just coming into that, of course, I love music. Of course, Whitney. I always go back to Whitney, but activism is really just my heart. And back in October, I think that's really where things started to pick up because, as I told you, I became the president in my in my airline, my labor union, I was the first black African American president within our labor union organization. I was the first male in its 27 years of its inception. So
Wow.
there was a lot of opportunity right there for me. Now, still being at a young age, still trying to grow into um, a lot of things that still I'm still not at a success level yet, but I'm getting there. It's things that I want to obtain. So I'm pretty much outside of that, just normal.
Mm.
A flight attendant still, at heart, and an author. I have a book coming out, scheduled to be released August the 19th, entitled God, Sex, and Secrets. So yeah, that is pretty much me, just an old Southern boy.
Yeah. And I think it's so funny to hear people say like the success thing because we measure it so differently. But in the sense of people look at you and they say that you are such a success story, and we may not see that because there is a higher level of, but I won't say higher level, but there's more to do. And so when people say like all of these things about like the success and all of that, I find it funny how people categorize where they are in their success level. So yes, like Nita said, don't downplay it. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So I'm so proud of you for
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it, but like for me, I don't. I'm one of those people that my philosophy is there is another level. The higher I get, I still want to continue to go higher, and I never believed in the philosophy of the sky is the limit.
that. Okay.
For me, it's unlimited as
Hmm.
far as how far you can go, how big, what's my reach, what can I
Hmm.
obtain. I'm still looking at 3 to 5 years now, what I want to do, what my goals are,
Hmm.
and it's an amazing. And of course, I always give all of my praises to God for everything that He's done. But I understand that I would never want to be in a stagnant place. And people do.
Hmm.
Some people measure money as success. Some people measure getting promotions as success. For me, I
Hmm.
measure success by how many people I'm able to impact by
Hmm.
me being able to get these different positions and being able to elevate. So as God puts me in the position to elevate, as I'm being able to bless others, that's where my success comes from. So
Hmm.
we all, once again, we all measure it in different ways.
We all measure in different ways. And I think that is so instrumental into like some of the other things because what I've used to find myself doing is comparing myself to others. And that was something that I look, this is terrible. My last episode was titled after something with Whitney Houston, but the way that she always said, "Can I be me?" and it was always that constant struggle. And like I said earlier in the introduction, I struggled with that
Yeah,
with like mental health journey because it was like a comparison of, well, I see them as successful and not even knowing that they didn't even see themselves as successful. So it was like, well, how am I comparing
hmm,
success to something that they don't even see as success? So that was a real eye opener.
absolutely.
And then staying in my own lane kind of helped me out in that too.
Hmm.
Baby,
That's
I don't travel outside EW Wiley.
staying in your own lane will bless you. Staying in
Can't
the stay, it will bless you. I'm telling you. And a lot of people look at, oh, woe is me, or this person is doing this. And I was at a point like that in one time in my life where I'm like, God, everybody's moving. It seems like everybody's on this pace and everybody's on this road. And it seems like everybody's just moving. It almost reminded me of little blind Bartimaeus, how he just sat on the side of the road. And while he was stagnant, everybody else just kept on passing by him. But one thing that really blessed me, not just
I
no,
was
that's
gonna
serious.
say,
But
let me
it
pass the plate.
no, seriously though. But sometimes when we're in a stagnant position and we're seeing people moving, it will make you feel a certain type of way. You will get sad. You will get discouraged. But
Mm-hmm.
there is there's a promise on the outside of that. On there's a promise for betterment. There's a promise of, if I just stay where I am right now, if I just stay in my lane, if I just stay in a
Mm-hmm.
position, if I just keep my heart posture right, that eventually God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you're going to be blessed and you're going to be elevated. But you have to wait your time. And a lot of times people want to be able to transition and go into things that God has not fully prepared for them yet. It's still in the oven baking and you ready to go and take it out. And sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
not like that. Sometimes we gotta wait until it's our turn. But while you're waiting, be appreciative and applaud others who are already getting theirs, because that's how you're gonna get yours.
Exactly. The one of my favorite other songs is "Grateful," and oh my god, I used to be a big choir girl, so we used to sing it, and I don't even think I could get through the first verse, and I'd be having my Baptist fit.
Grateful.
Okay, because at that time it was like learning so much, and so there was always a feeling that enveloped me. But like learning these different elements of who I am spiritually
Yeah.
and connecting to what it is that we were taught, it's like there is so much of a higher connection that I always feel, and so I think people get the idea misconstrued because I get that feeling from a lot, and it's not just based upon like a gospel song. It could be a conversation that I'm having with someone where I just get like a chill that comes over me because there is
Oh yeah.
a almost like a feeling of like there. I can't explain. I really can't explain. But the feeling is just immense, equitable to a Baptist fit to me. And child, some of the Whitney songs.
Hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely. She hit a note and you feel that little tingle up your spine. I feel
Oh,
like that all things like that happen that you feel. You
so
get that
one
little.
I just had a flashback because one of the songs that I listen to all the time to like kind of help me usher in a place of self love was the live version of "I Didn't Know My Own Strength" on Oprah. Like that is one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm like feeling a little bit down or self doubting. Let me say, um, especially during one of my
Yes.
moments. We'll call them that. Now, tell me this.
Yeah.
We're advocates for mental health and navigating the journey to peace. But why do you think it's so important to acknowledge that you may be experiencing a problem?
It's important for you to acknowledge the problem so that you can be able to find a solution. There was a lot of things, toxic things that we were taught in the black household that we had to unlearn growing up. And I know, it's, I can't, I know everybody's household is different. Caucasian household is different. Asian household is different. But I can only speak on my experience as a black male. There are certain things as far as what goes on in the house stays in the house, right? You can't talk about anything outside of this house or whatever. But of course, as you get older, you start to realize that a lot of things that I learned, or a lot of things that were
Mm,
holding me bound, and a lot of baggage that I had came from me not being able to talk about it.
right.
Those were a lot of mental health issues that I were having because I wasn't able to be able to vocalize it. I wasn't able to be able to talk freely about my sexuality. I wasn't able to be able to um, have a relationship with God. And of course, once again, balance my sexuality. I wasn't able to be able to come into the fullness and the knowing of who God is because of a lot of these things that kept me bound. And a lot of them stems from mental health. And it's
Yeah.
so important that we be able to talk about these things, that we be able to get into counseling and be able to find that disconnect that we feel that we may be having, because some things that we have can be, a lot of experiences that we have can be very traumatic, and you really
Mm-hmm.
don't realize it until you start to get older and you get inside these relationships and these people
Mm-hmm.
are saying something and they're triggering you and you don't necessarily know what it is, but you're getting angry and you
Right.
can't communicate and vocalize because there was something that was embedded inside of you years ago. It was already a seed planted that may have been from your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather. They may have said something to you, and that created something inside
Right.
of you. And
Right.
now these things are things that you're dealing with as you're getting older. So I feel like because I've been in therapy since 2018.
Mhm.
I haven't went this year, of course, and then with COVID, it all turned virtually. But I found out it was so helpful in me identifying things that I needed to work on in order to produce the man who I am now. Because
Um,
I was still stuck stagnant in a lot of things uh, self-esteem issues, suicidal
mhm.
thoughts. It's a lot of things
Mhm.
that happen, and uh, I feel like we all have mental issues. Honestly, I feel like
Yeah.
we all got some type of touch of a mental issue there. But at the same time, it's about identifying it, and it's about working on yourself. It's about bettering yourself. And a lot of times, people who don't have the capacity or the self-awareness of what it is that may be bothering them or going wrong, they don't want to go get diagnosed. They don't want to go seek help because they feel like I'm good, I'm okay. But in hindsight,
Mhm.
you're really not.
You're really not. And I think that also talks into a place of strength because let me put this glass down because you got me hot now.
God.
Woo, I feel it, preacher. I feel it. So one of the things that I really have struggled with is being. I always have people on that talk about like the superheroes wearing the cape, like who saves the superhero, when do you take the cape off, and all of that. But what people don't understand
Yeah.
is, just like I said in the beginning, sometimes I fake it till I make it, and that only works for a certain amount of time. And so for me, a turning point that really made me realize, well, baby, you faking it for far too long. Like you really need to reach out to get some help. Was like recently I lost two close friends and like four, maybe five close work colleagues, all in 2021. And grief is something that I learned at an early age and had almost become numb to. But it was my dad's passing in 2013 that broke that numbness. And I saw the way that he struggled through his grief processes, and it had taken so much over his life. Like to see him like that, and it was very traumatic, just like you said, it's very traumatic for me, and it showed me that it was okay to grieve in whatever way that I needed. Like I needed to grieve, and we talked about grief in the pre-show, and I know that there are a lot of people that are dealing with loss. So, what was it that helped you get through such a tough time?
It was definitely God because I wasn't seeking no therapy. Um, that would be the only thing. And it was creating a self awareness in myself that, Romero, you need some help. Last year, I was working a flight and my sister, um, my mama called me. You know, I didn't have my phone on airplane mode. So as you're getting closer to the ground, you start to realize that my phone is chiming off. So
Mm.
my mom calls me like three times, and then my sister calls me. And then I tell my sister, I'm like, hey, I'm working a flight right now. What's going on? And she texts me, she says, Ro, she's gone. She said, Dee Dee's gone. Dee Dee was my older sister. And I said, what do you mean? And she was like, she's gone. She's not here. I had lost my grandfather a few years prior, but outside of that, I had never had any like major deaths. When you lose a sibling, it's a different type of pain. It's a different type of hurt because not only she left behind my 12-year-old nephew, she had just given birth to her daughter, who was 6 months at the time. So my baby niece was born at 6 months, premature. And then I also feel like she left me behind. So I'm balancing all of these emotions down, and the only person really I have to depend on is my sister Nita, who's in the comments. Hey Nita, and God. my mom was there, and I held in a lot of guilt around that time too, because of the fact that it's like, could I have said something that might have changed anything? Could I have told her something? Because my nephew was the one that walked in on her and found her, and he's having now to go through counseling and go through his whole thing or whatever like that. But that's hard for a 12-year-old. So now he's dealing with his emotions, and now you got your uncle who now has to be strong for you, but he's really broken. So deep down, I had to realize inside, like, okay, God, I really need you to come and show me the essence of who you are, because I don't really know what to do. Not only that, my great grandmother passed 3 months after that, who I was very, very close to. And then my grandmother passed right after that. So I lost three major important people to me in a 6 month time period. I didn't turn to smoking. I didn't turn to it, any type of addiction, but I was very much so acting out in ways that I knew I was dishonoring myself. Whether it was
Mm,
through sex, whether it was through partying consecutively, because we was on in COVID time, right? So we not
mhm,
working, and all I'm doing is having to be home and deal with this grief and deal with this pain. But I had to come to a self awareness. I had to come to myself. The prodigal son said he came to himself. That's when he went home. That's when he was able to go back to his father. He came to himself. So I had to come to myself. And then I had to realize the essence of who God is, and the
mm,
fact that though he slay me, yet will I trust him. I done went through all these things in my life, but God, you said you'll never leave me, you'll never forsake me. So I had to remind him of his word to me, of his promise to me. And that was something that really got me through. So I'm in a very much so healthier place. But are there times that I cry? Yes. Are
mhm.
there times that I think that I wish I could have called her, and I wish I could have told her I love you like more, or been apart? Yes. But you know what? You can't go back and change what happened. You can only strive to move forward in your life and be grateful and appreciative of the time that you have with the person. Because every minute, every second that you have is a gift from up above. It's a gift from God. And you have to be appreciative of that. So I'm appreciative of the life that He gave her to me, for me being able to allow to be able to have my sister. And I tell anybody out there that's struggling with grief, take it one day at a time. The two things that you have to realize: one, all things are lessons that God will have for me to learn. That is so important. Everything that you go through is a lesson that God will have for you to learn. And two, when it comes down to grief and when it comes down to self help, spend uninterrupted time pouring into yourself. You got to spend time pouring into you. You got to spend time. Ayana used this great thing, and then I'll shut up in a second. But Ayana used this great thing, this quote where she says, she goes back to a biblical reference that says, "My cup runneth over. What's in my cup is for me, and what comes out of my cup is for you." So you have to spend time making sure that your cup is full before you could be
Right,
able to pour into yourself. Because a lot of us, like myself, I was pouring into people. I didn't have anything else. I was on E. But yet
right.
people are coming to me asking me for help. And mentally, I'm in a breakdown mode. Like, I just lost my sister. I just lost my great grandma. I really don't want to talk to you about nothing. So I had to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, God, I need to refill. I need to come back to who I am. And I need to get back to this place of serenity and peace so that I could be able to pour to others after I've taken care of myself.
Yeah, I think that is exactly where I am now because, like you said, there are many things that we wish we could have said or we wish we could have done, but it's really out of our control. It's not something that there is not like we have a remote or manual into life. And so appreciating the moments that we did have and my of course my ultimate favorite artist is Kelly Rowland, but she has a song called Flowers, and in the song it talks about giving people their flowers while they're here. And one of the people that I did lose was a huge Kelly Rowland fan, and it breaks my heart. Like to know that there were so many things that I could have said and could have done, but it's outside of my control. And now it's up to me. So that is exactly why I'm taking this month to really restore those elements that I feel like that I sent away as well. And so it was not something that was intentional, but the vulnerability was there. And I allowed that to actually go forward and say, like, you need to take care of yourself. So, yeah, I totally get that. And that is how you handle grief in a healthy way.
Yeah, because there are healthy ways and there are unhealthy ways.
Look, this is, woo, okay. I almost tied you, okay? And I ain't got nobody money to be tithing nobody. All my money is for my habits.
You knew we was gonna get into some things. You knew we was gonna get into some conversation.
Ooh, so yes, I okay. Let's switch into some happy thoughts, happy feelings. What's the song?
Okay,
Everywhere
happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Because I ain't gonna be on this camera crying with you tonight.
you. I have never shed a tear on this other Gent. Okay, I'm a G. We're not gonna talk about that. But yeah,
Not you, a
somebody
G.
have to, and somebody no, literally somebody actually. It was my friend Cree because I tend to try not to cry anymore because I can't be a crybaby. But she said you're gonna have a moment, and it's like a breakthrough. It's like really a breakthrough that me and my gay daughter
Yeah,
was about Courtney of saying that there is a breakthrough coming, and we are praying with each other. We're praying for each other. We're doing all of these things, touching and agreeing. So I believe it, and
yeah,
I told you tonight was a divine intervention. I honestly feel like tonight was,
yeah.
it is a healing moment into my own personal journey. So thank you again.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I wanted to come on here and whatever, and we just said we just gonna let the conversation flow, and it's just whatever divine intervention and whatever God may have for either one of us to say, we're just gonna just let it flow. And it is a healing process. It needs a healing process to be able to talk about it. And it's not
Mhm.
selfish to be able to take care of yourself. It's self-full.
So cool.
Self-full.
I love it. So one of the notable titles that I mentioned in the description was author. And if everybody's paying attention, I told Romero to scoot to the side so we could see all of the good back. So please pay attention to the back. But Romero, I want you there it is. I want you to tell people about the book. Tell us the name, the date, where we can get it, how people can like sign up for like newsletters if you're gonna be doing that. How can people get with you?
Okay, here's the thing. My book is not out yet. It is scheduled for release on August the 19th. That is the official date for it now, point blank, period. God, Sex, and Secrets has been something I've been working on for the past 5 years. And people probably like, what? Like, but I'm so happy that my readers have decided to stay in tune and really they're really pushing for me to go ahead and put it out. And I wrote God, Sex, and Secrets as originally as a short story about 5 years ago, part of the short story challenge on Facebook, and I didn't think that it was going to take off in a way that it did, but it did. But it's the story of a bisexual minister that falls in love with the pastor of a mega church and the pastor's daughter. So it intertwines the sexual and the sacred together, and that's one of the things I had on the book. So a lot of it's fictional, allegedly. A lot of it's fictional. And a lot of it as well is, based off of real life experiences. None of it's based off a particular person, but the main
Mhm.
characters, which is Tyrell. He's the ultimate protagonist. And then you have Pastor Todd. Everybody knows about him. He's the ultimate antagonist. It's a battle of good and supposed to be good, but it's really a battle of good and battle of evil. So it talks
Mhm.
about the Black LGBT community in the church. There's a lot of funny things inside of it, a lot of experiences that we've all had that we can relate to. A lot of funny moments, once again. A lot of serious things, such as funerals, such as dealing with the loss and dealing with the death of parents and different things of nature. A lot of murder, a lot of
Mhm.
sex, God, sex, and secrets. So you just really have to be in tune. And those of you who have read my short stories, a lot of people have said that it's like a mixture of Greenleaf and Zane books. Um,
Ooh,
so
two of my favorites.
a lot of it's a lot of juiciness inside of it, and I've been working on it. And as soon as I get to the point where I'm about to put it out, then we had COVID that hit last year, so I wasn't
Mhm.
able to put my book out and be able to tour it and do different things of that nature. But this time, August the 19th is my date, and I'm going to tour my book. And it's going to be available for release on Amazon, on Google Play, Google Bookstore, iBooks, everywhere that you can find it. So make sure that you all purchase, 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 purchase. And I will have it plastered everywhere when it is out. So God, Sex, and Secrets, make sure you look for it.
God, Sex, and Secrets. I am so excited for it because this is something that is very relevant. But I do also have to ask you before we get in tune with the characters, before it comes out in August, by then people will forget about this, but I won't forget about this. But I want to know, is there a character in your book that you relate most to?
Is there who?
A character in the book that you relate most to?
I re- uh I relate to all the characters in the book.
Ah,
Everything
there
is.
we go.
I'm gonna give you a little spin. I'm gonna give you a little
I
spin. I
love
relate to
it.
all the characters in the book.
That is perfect because you know what's funny? I actually want to go on like this. I want to do. Oh, I don't know what it's called, but like press press preparation. I want to teach people how to like answer questions in a way that you don't have to go too far into detail. Because I watched the interview the other day on Wednesday.
Hmm.
Yeah, what is this?
And you know what it is? Some people, when they're asked questions, they crack under. Who was that? Hey, Mike. So I wrote myself in. No, I did it. Nah. So some people crack under pressure. Some people can't deal with pressure when somebody is because it almost feels like an interrogation to them.
Mhm.
Like somebody's asking them or whatever. So I'm kind of clever there. I learned a few things, learned my way to work around and spin a few
Okay,
things, but
spin the thing too.
nevertheless, nevertheless, but no, none of the characters are based off of me. I would say that. Are there some that I relate to? Maybe, but you just have to read.
You have to read. I can read, honey. What need me say?
Hey, I can read.
So the book comes out August 19th. Make sure you all follow Romero on all platforms because it is going to be spectacular. And I want to host the Memphis based press release and stuff that you have. I want to host something for you.
Come on, when I get ready to do my book release, you know what? And we had a conversation about that too. I definitely want you to come and be able to do that. It's a lot of things that I'm working on, that I'm trying to get done and trying to get under my belt. So we're gonna collaborate. We're gonna get it done. Like I'm
Yeah,
very much so excited. Yeah,
we're gonna
very
make it
much
work.
so.
And then where it took, you said, like plenty of years, but was there a motivating factor, like that really made you say, I want to do a book. Like, I'm just going to do it. Like, go ahead and do it.
I've always had the ability to write.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like if I ever put my pen to paper, I'm like, it's probably something that'll be able to take off. And that's just not being arrogant. It's just being confident. And I'm confident in the ability and the gift that God has given me. Writing is just something that I've just been blessed to do. Like, both of my parents were talented in that aspect of writing. And I love to write. I wrote stage plays, I wrote speeches. I've just always been a writer. And when the short story challenge was going on and everybody was writing their stories and being creative and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is my moment for me to go ahead and put my stuff out. So let me go ahead and write my stuff. And it just kind of all worked itself out. So that was my biggest thing. Like, um, make room because there's room for all of us to eat. So I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to do it. That's been my biggest philosophy from last year going into this year. Anything that I want to do, I'm just going to do it. I'm not asking nobody. I'm definitely not telling nobody, but you're just going to see it. You know, sometimes we want to jump ahead and want to tell everybody this and tell everybody that, and nothing's even in the work. But sometimes you have to let things gradually build. So that's what I've been doing. I'm just like, I'm just going to do it. You know, I'm not asking for your permission. I'm telling you, you're going to see me. I'm telling you, I'm going to put myself out there because everything was already predestinated before I even got to this point.
So when God, Sex and Secrets comes out as a movie, I need you to think of me, okay? I need to be at least a
You
supporting
know what?
actress.
And that's you thinking. Look, and that's you thinking far ahead for me because I haven't even thought that part. But if it's God's will, it'll be God's will.
Wait, look. I didn't even. Marcus wants to be a part of
He said,
it.
"Well, if you make a movie, Cassie, Mark is so silly."
This is my cousin that initially made fun of my solo cups.
You said, "What the?"
This is my cousin that made fun of my solo cups first, and then here you come. So yes, I got a real wine glass tonight.
I had to get on him. I'm like, nah, we not, nah, that's
And
except out of order, out of order.
but you know what? At first I was like, bump that. I'm finna get my solo cup. But then I was like, oh my God, I forgot about these old cups because like my undergrad chapter, they came to one of my housewarmings and I was in love
Hmm.
with Candle at the time. And apparently they had to put the shit on back order. And they got it for me. And I felt so loved because I was like, oh my gosh, I love Skim. I'm letting you pop. And so I was like, shout out to them.
Shout out to them. And
So
we give
about
you
also about the book, what would you say was like the hardest process? Because I know there are a lot of people who are out there that are creative writers and do all of these things. What would you say was the hardest aspect of creating a book?
motivating myself to write. Because sometimes I would be, when you're in a creative mode, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this character going to do this. You're just like in storyline mode. So I'm just writing and writing and writing. And then it would be days I'd be like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to write
Okay.
no more. My hands hurt. I'm tired of talking into this typewriter. I just, this is going to stay right here until I get done. And then you have your readers. And when you really build a fan base and people who are very supportive of what it is that you try to put out, then you get them messaging you. And they're like, where is the book? We've been waiting now. And I have readers now that have been waiting for 5 years. So I feel like it's an underservice if I don't produce it and if I don't put it out. So then I got to the point where I finally finished it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Boom. It's COVID.
Mhm.
Everybody at home. Everybody get a chance to read the book. And then it was so much other stuff with the death of my sister and my grandmother and stuff
Mhm.
like that that started hitting. And I'm just like, I'm not motivated to do nothing but eat some chicken right now. That's all I'm
Okay.
motivated to do. Eat some chicken and drink and go to bed. That's all I'm motivated to do. So, among other things, but we're not gonna talk about that. But nevertheless, at I decided to go back to the drawing board and say that Your readers deserve this. You deserve this. And you just have to get it out there. So now I'm at a point, I'm like, come hell, high water, this book is coming out. And it's done. It's not like I'm writing on it anymore. It's done. It's just the timing of everything. And I
Mhm.
had to put it to a time where I could be able to be devoted and invested in it because I'm still, running a 8 to 5 company. I'm still running
Mhm.
a full company in the daytime. So I'm like, I have to have time where I could be devoted to it. So now I'm managing. I'm managing,
Mhm.
just putting my time to where I need to put it towards.
It's so interesting because we'll talk about. I already have that listed, but I want to go back to something because
Mm-hmm.
all these things is definitely tough. But you said something earlier of like that's not. There's a difference, right, between arrogance and confidence, especially in our God-given abilities. So tell me more about the difference. Like, is there a line in between, or how do you balance that?
Arrogance is see me, see me, see me. Confidence is you're going to see me regardless of whether I tell you who I am or who I'm not. People are so fixated on titles, and I tell my team this all the time. When I was doing a leadership class for them, I said it's possible to be a great person and not a great leader, and it's also
Mhm.
possible to be a great leader and not a great person.
Mhm.
People are so fixated on I'm a title, I do this, I do that, and are very arrogant. And when it's all stripped away, they're left with nothing because nothing was embedded in them before they got that position. If you're a fool, you're just gonna be a rich fool. If you're a fool, you're just gonna be a broke fool. It's just gonna enhance whoever it is that you are. So I've never been stuck on see me, see me, see me, or having this type of arrogance. I'm the president. I do this. I do that. I genuinely will have conversations with my flight attendants. I walk up with them in the airport, and they will not have any idea until they ask me my name, and then they be like, "I get your emails." That's the type of relatability that I want. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it's God who elevates you, and it's also God who can bring you back down and humble you and put you back in a position where all you have to be is on your face, depending on Him. And we should always be like that, but it's a different type of humbleness sometimes he has to bring out of people. And we've seen it in
Mhm.
politicians, we've seen it in pastors, that these people, they get titles and they get fixated and stuck on it's me, it's me, it's me, but it's really not you. You were put in that position to be able to bless and help somebody else. So I never really worry about the arrogance of it, but it is important to be confident in who you are. And the confidence comes from the God given ability and the gift that I can do this. Even though you may be able to do it, but you'll never be able to do it how I'm able to do it or how I'm able to execute it because God gave it to me. If He gave it to you, it would be one thing, but He gave it to me. So my arrogance and confidence, those are two different things, and you have to watch your heart posture. You have to be able to
Yeah.
watch this and make sure that you're in a position to be able to be humble. So when He does elevate you, you already know that okay, I got this way because I wasn't trying to belittle nobody. I wasn't trying to punch nobody down, but He saw something in me, and I've been able to use that to share with other people. So that's the
I need
deal.
somebody to hashtag heart posture. Okay. Somebody do it right now. Marcus, Dottie, Charlotte, Aunt Rashawn, whoever's on here, hashtag heart posture so we don't forget that. Because I have been in
Shout
such
out
a
to, I'm sorry, shout out, before you finish that, shout out to Prophetess Genesis Warren, who I first heard that from, heart posture. That's why I always attribute that to. Watch your heart posture. Go ahead.
because like that just I'm gonna look that up because when I think about that, I am a person that leads with love, and like love is something that rules my world because if I can't lead with my heart in if my it what's the if your heart is in so I can't lead with like anything else because I am such a heart believing person beyond the spirit, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
speaking of, if your heart is in it, one
Come on,
topic
if your heart.
on the pre-show was love, and we just passed Love's Holiday. Honey. Did you enjoy yourself?
Valentine. Wait, what's the Valentine's Day? Nah, there was that Valentine's Day. We
Now
actually
wait a
had
minute.
that.
I know I saw "Run to You" in the video.
There was Valentine's Day. How you know?
No, that is literally in January. That was my favorite Whitney song. I have eras of favorite songs, but January of 2021 all the way back to like 2016, that was my favorite Whitney song.
Oh my God. Ain't it a beautiful song? I mean, I used to always say I wanted, I've changed it now, but I used to always say I wanted it to be like my wedding song. It's so beautiful, and the live version of her doing it is just, oh gosh.
I could fall out.
It's so
I,
beautiful. And then oh my God, on the
question.
bodyguard in the all white. Oh my gosh. Just but anyway, go ahead, Eddie. You know we talking about Whitney all day.
Can't we? So leading with love and like all of those things, love has really brought joy into my life. So tell me about your journey through love, self love, and if there is any ability to love anyone else, hey, that's good too.
Well, first off, self love is the most important thing before you even get ready to transition or be able to move into a relationship. Um, it's about self love. And that's what I had to discover before I was able to be in any type of relationship with anybody else. Because I went through the dating phase and the highs and the lows of it. You know, after that honeymoon phase is over, where you start really, really learning about a person. So I really had to identify what it was. First off, not I had love growing up. I had it from my grandmother. Didn't necessarily see it between my parents because of the relationship that they had. So I spent a lot of time trying to identify and figure out what love was, right? And to now getting
Mhm.
into this point of saying, okay, so love is this and love is that, and love is what I define it to be, but ultimately knowing that God is love. So, you know, and He is the embodiment or the essence of what love is. So having to identify that and being able to say that what I want to feel, I want to be able to, I want that to radiate from somebody. And I stopped trying to get people to conform to my views and my values. And when I realized that you can't teach anybody how to love you, I became a better person. Because people have been misinformed. I feel like people have been misinformed. And this is just my opinion. We've been taught that you have to. I do believe that you're supposed to teach people how to treat you, because some people just don't know. Because I do believe you have to have boundaries and different things of that nature. But love is just different because sometimes a person just gonna be who they're gonna be. And what I
Exactly.
realized is you don't get a chance to teach anybody how to love you. So what this is what I do now, and this is how so because now I'm in a relationship, right? And this is just some of the things that I've learned. You don't get a chance to teach anybody how to love you. You get what you do is you see how a person loves, and then you make the decision on whether or not you want to participate in it.
Mm.
That's what I've done with everybody I've dated now. I see how you are. I see how you love. I see what you give. I see how you treat me. I see how you treat your parents. I see how you treat everybody around you. And then I see the relationship that we have together. And then I actively make a decision in myself if I choose to participate in this or not. Because the thing
Mhm.
is, I have a choice. I'm not
Right.
conformed to you. I don't have to stay with you out of self pity. I don't have to stay with you because once I knew I had love within myself, and then once I knew that God was love, I don't need anybody else to be there for me. You can be an addition to what I already have, but you can't be the full manifestation because I already have that within myself. So you got to be able to give and take something within me. Listen, all right, listen, y'all gonna be talk tonight.
Where my sheet?
Y'all gonna be
Oh
talk tonight. But okay, I gotta stop. You want me to stop?
no, keep going, keep going.
Okay. Once I knew what the love was that radiated on the inside of me because I had self love. I don't you don't have to deal with nobody disrespecting you, cursing you out, making you feel less than what you are, making you feel less than your worth because you already have that on the inside of you. So whoever I so after going through that with people and staying with them because I didn't want to feel the feeling of loneliness, but at the same time, the warmth and the touch of the person was so beautiful. I feel like I didn't want to lose it after I got out of that monolithic way of thinking and that crazy way of thinking, like I did not have a choice. I had to force myself to be with somebody. That's how I was able to move on and be able to say, I'm going to see how it is that you are. I'm going to give you an opportunity, give you a chance, and then I'm going to actively decide on whether or not I'm going to participate in the way that you want to treat me or the way that you treat me. If I choose to stay, then that's because I see something in you worth working on. If I choose to walk away, it's not because there's anything wrong with you. There's just our dynamic just doesn't work. And I just don't like the way that you treat me. And I just don't like the way that you love me because that's not what I need for myself. It's not a selfish way of thinking, it's a self full.
I am about to get happy. My grandma used to say, I'm just so happy. I literally, I can tell you, I used to be a church queen, like full on every day, every other day. And I have literally, I remember when I first met you, I was a full blown church queen, full blown. But I prayed for the day that you would find that strength and all of this because we have both come from the same things that you was going through back in the day, was the same things I had been through, honey. And so I prayed for that day and to just know that you have woo! It's like it's such a moment of happiness.
And Eddie, their life experiences. Because there are not there's so many things that and you don't stop learning to the day you die. I don't care what people say.
Exactly.
You're not gonna stop learning till the day you leave this earth. So while I'm here, I refuse to because what they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I don't want to be an insane person. I don't want to have an asinine way of thinking. I want to evolve. I want to constantly continue to grow, and that's what I've come into because I had to come into myself.
Yeah.
And the person in my life now adds to that. You know what I'm saying? So
Compliment.
that's why I am. He compliments. I'm not depending on him to be there for me because he could never be there for me because I have to be there for myself. And if there was ever a point where if there was ever a point where we got two and I was not getting that, then we revisit the conversation. I would say, this is no longer feeding what it is that I need because this is supposed to be a mutual agreement of both parties. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have to take care of yourself, but you also have to make sure that you're giving the other person what they need too.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're not going to misconstrue that. They have to make sure they're getting what they need too, but at the same time, it has to be a mutual thing. But above all else, when you go through breakups and when you're left by yourself, it's just you having to fix that and mend that. So you better make sure that you're taken care of first before you try to go out there and date and try to bring anybody else into that equation. You got to make sure that you're
Mhm.
good. That's the point that
Mhm.
I'm at right now.
Love that. I honestly love that. So we could, when you come back in August, because I'm telling you you're coming back in August. I want to deeper into a couple of other topics, but recently, Lil Nas X released a statement to himself when he was younger. I think like 14. So if there was anything that you could say to your 14-year-old self or teenage self or younger self, whatever age you choose, what would that be?
I would say to my 16-year-old self, Live your damn life and love yourself, regardless of what anybody say. Because the same people that were chanting Hosanna, 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 the next day they were saying crucify him. So people can be one day, 1 minute, and then change the next day. Live your life and love yourself. That's what I would go back and say because I honestly did not. I honestly spent a lot of time trying to identify what love was and trying to love myself. So I would go back and say, choose you over anything else. Don't choose nobody else. Choose you. And whoever it is that comes along in your life, they're going to see that and they're going to appreciate it and they're going to admire it and they're going to respect it and not be intimidated by it. Because what it is that's on the inside of you is radiates and it's beautiful and it's the essence of God because God is love. So love yourself, choose you. And that's what I would tell myself, literally.
That is very. Mm. You know what? If I could go back to a time and tell myself anything, it probably would be at the height of my early 20s
Hmm.
because I lived so much in not necessarily in the closet. I just really didn't talk about sexuality because I wasn't involved in a lot of that. Like you, West Memphis is a smaller place, so I was involved in like all of the academic clubs and all of that. So I could get away with being the fat, funny friend, which is a whole nother conversation. I mean, so I say that
Yeah.
say anything about anybody else, but that's just a label that was placed on me. So I think I would tell my 22 22-year-old self is to really understand what life means to you and embrace it because
Yeah.
I lived life for so many years for what other people expected me to do, what other people wanted me to do, and how I should act, how I should do, how many times I should go to church, and live that life of an almost first gentleman. And so I really wanted to live life for myself, and I was a rebel. But I really would tell myself, it's just whatever it is that you want to do beyond what other people wanted to do, because I did not know where I wanted to be at 22. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. I
And
loved
there's
it.
a lot comes along with that. Yes. Oh
Um,
my gosh. I love it. This conversation is feeding me tonight. This conversation is blessing me for real.
So, if there's anybody out there that wants to write a book or wants to do any of that, what advice would you give somebody who is on the verge of writing, whatever it is, whether it be fictional or non-fictional?
Advice I would give to them:
Mm-hmm.
take your time and make the decision on whether or not you want a traditional publish or self-publish based off of the needs of your audience and based off of the content that you have. Have people vet it,
Mm-hmm.
have people look it over, edit it. Make sure that your book is edited. Pay the money to because it's going to go a long ways if you do get your product and get your content edited. And see, if you do get that traditional publishing deal, make sure I was offered a traditional publishing deal. I did not take it because they wanted too much of a high percentage for my book. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like that I want to be able to own the rights to my work once it's done because I've worked hard on it. So
Mm-hmm.
that gave me the option of knowing that okay, your book is good enough because you have been vetted by a traditional publishing company. But one
Mm-hmm.
thing that Malcolm MJ Harris told me, he says what you do is doing your self publishing, you do that, make the numbers, and be able to work it that way. And then you take that number back to a traditional publishing company and say, huh, here, you know what I'm saying? Look at what I did by myself. See if you can match
Mm-hmm.
that. If you want me to go into business with you, lower that for the rights and different things of that nature. So I just tell that would probably be my best advice.
I think that's awesome because I love that advice in the sense of that's literally been almost my life.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have, I have struggled through some stuff and
yeah,
got in debt and all these things to really have that because I think about the people who open doors for me, you
yeah.
know. And it's like, well, how can I open the door for the next bitch to come through? Next bitch, next nigga, next hoe, whatever you call yourself. How can I open the door for the next?
Pronouns, pronouns, pronouns.
I know I'm being respectful, okay, inclusive. I want to be inclusive.
Whatever you call.
Definitely want the next person to come up and not have to go through the same struggles that I went through. And I'm only 33, and like that's so crazy because we think about like how in the civil rights was only what 60, 50 years ago, and all of these other things that
And
are
they
so
make it feel like it was so long ago. And it really was not.
it was not. It was not that long ago.
It was not.
There's so many topics we can talk about, Ramiro, but we are nearing the end of our time. I have to heartedly thank you for tonight because I am, for one, a much better person for this conversation.
Oh wow, God bless you.
I really am. I thank you for that.
Wendy would say, thank you so much. God
No,
bless you.
thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
because when you talked about it really made me think about like all of these things because people really have been pressuring me to do these TikToks, and I just have been putting it to the side, and I liked doing them. So I'm kind of like, well, if you enjoy doing it, it brought you a little joy, it brought somebody else joy. Why not do it? So I got a couple up my sleeve. Okay, there's about 15 inboxes on Facebook that have threatened me, basically. So sooner or later, thanks to Romero. So everybody thank Romero. I will be back on my TikTok journey because I was like, oh nope.
And you know what? And you take the time that you need, and how
Mhm.
you honor yourself. Once again, you spend uninterrupted time pouring into you. So if you need if you need April to get yourself together and pour into yourself and refill, because you can't give anything else to anybody that you don't have. If you need that for
Right.
yourself, you do that. You pour into you so that you'll be able to pour out to others. So that when you do come back, oh, it's even better than what it was before. It's already great. So now we shot out to another stratosphere because I'm full now. I've had my sabbatical. I've had my rest.
I am so excited. So you've got me excited for things, Romero. Are there any final words or that you want to give to the viewers or anything that you like to promote, any events or anything that's coming up?
I am working tentative for the end of May on a young professionals and entrepreneurs conference for Memphis, Tennessee. So just kind of stick around. I'm tentative for the end of May. But outside of that, I want everybody to make sure that you take time, take care of yourself. Whenever you find yourself in a deep place or in a hard place, take a deep breath. It gets the energy flowing and your mind is able to regulate. Because a lot of times when we get upset, we don't breathe. Honor yourself by devoting time to yourself and the things that you need. So many times people want to pull from us, pull the energy out of us. Everything is energy. From not only
Mhm.
just working out, but conversations are energy. People can drain you. So you have to make sure that you
Mhm.
honor yourself and go back to that place that what I need for me is my time. And once
Mhm.
again, it's not selfish, it's self-full.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. I need you whenever the live ends. We're gonna have. Can you stick around for like 4 more minutes?
Yeah.
Quick little after show. But
Come on, after so.
okay, I want to go in and have you type in your handles so that way everybody can follow you because I'm already getting inbox. Glad I put it on vibrate. Okay. But you have been such an awesome delight tonight, and I am truly humbled and grateful that you even wanted to come on the Southern Jet and you actually came. And knowing that you have blessed me and so many people that I love that are in my inbox, it's been such a treat.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Dude. You got me over here just smiling. My heart is full. I'm appreciative. I'm grateful for the platform. I'm grateful for you. I mean, I don't want to be nowhere else under the sun and Gent tonight. This is the place to be. You
I
know,
feel like I'm getting an exclusive.
you are.
Am I Oprah?
What? What?
Is it Romero or Romero? Y'all know I love Oprah.
Oh God, that cliffhanger was everything. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. She was so funny.
Oh, my cousin.
Wonderful guest tonight. Continue the light God shine has given shine to be a guide for others. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I really appreciate that. God bless you. Thank you so much.
So everybody, please look out for Romero's comments because he will be tagging himself all of the platforms. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well. So wherever they can find you, please tag yourself. I
Most definitely.
love. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.
Hello, everyone. I am so blown away. Like, literally. I told you tonight was going to be one of the realest and rawest episodes that I've ever aired. And because I told you that, I had to own up to it. And Romero could not have been the most perfect guest for tonight. So I want you all to extend love to yourselves, extend grace to yourselves. Think of those moments of peace and clarity, whatever it is, your practice of faith, your practice of belief, restore into yourself so that you can pay it forward. Pay It Forward is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know it's an old movie, I'm aging myself, but if you have not seen Pay It Forward, it really will touch you. And please think of yourself. It's not selfish, it's self full. If you want to be a guest when I come back in May, the first week, the first Thursday of May, I will be back. So if you want to be a guest within the month of May, please let me know. You can email me at I go by Eddie at gmail.com. You can DM me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not on Jacked anymore, so you can't find me there. But you can also find me anywhere. Eddie Weddy, Ed Wiley 06 on YouTube, as well as Eddie W Live on Twitter. So thank you all for a wonderful evening. And I will be so excited to see you all the first week in May. Ciao.